Right now, your kidneys might be sending you a warning signal, and the frightening part is that most people cannot feel it. No pain, no obvious sign. Just a quiet, slow decline happening deep inside your body every single day. And here's what makes it worse. There is a very good chance that something you're doing in your daily routine, something completely ordinary, something you have never thought twice about, is making that decline faster without you even knowing. But here's what I also want you to know. There is one common food, something you can find at any grocery store in America, probably for less than $2. And this food has real science behind it that shows it may help protect your kidneys and slow the damage down. I know that sounds like a big promise. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. And by the end of this video, you will have something real and practical that you can start using today. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat in a doctor's waiting room holding a piece of paper with your lab results on it? Maybe your hands were a little cold. Maybe your heart was going a little faster than normal. And you kept looking at one particular number on that page. A number with a name you had never really thought much about before, and you had no idea what it was trying to tell you. I have seen that moment thousands of times. People walking into my office with that same look, confused, a little scared, hoping that whatever comes next is not as serious as they fear. My name is Dr. Gregory Allen. I have spent over 20 years working with patients who have chronic kidney disease, elevated creatinine, and compromised kidney function. I have watched people come in feeling hopeless and leave with a clear plan and real confidence. But the thing that has stayed with me all these years, the thing that keeps me making videos like this one, is what I hear over and over again from patients in that first appointment. Doctor, nobody ever explained this to me before. Nobody told me what these numbers actually mean. That is exactly why I am here today. Let us fix that together, starting right now. So let us start at the very beginning, because if you do not understand what creatinine actually is, nothing else I tell you today will make much sense. Think of your body as a city, a big, busy, living city that runs 24 hours a day and never shuts down for the night. Your muscles are the workers in that city. Every time you walk to the kitchen, climb a flight of stairs, carry a bag of groceries, or even just hold yourself upright in a chair, your muscles are doing work. And like any workforce, all that activity produces waste. Creatinine is one of those waste products. It is completely natural. Every single person on this planet produces creatinine every second of every day. There is nothing unusual or alarming about creatinine itself. It is simply what your body makes when your muscles do their job. Now, that city of yours has an extraordinary waste management system, two of the most remarkable organs in the human body. Your kidneys. Two small organs, roughly the size of your fist, sitting quietly in your lower back. And these organs filter your entire blood supply around 180 liters every single day. Think about that for a moment. 180 liters. That is roughly the size of a bathtub, filtered every day, continuously, without a single day off. The kidneys take everything the body no longer needs, including creatinine, and send it out of your body through your urine. That is their job. And when they are doing it well, creatinine stays within a healthy range in your blood. But when your kidneys begin to struggle, when the filters start to slow down, creatinine builds up. And here is the key thing to understand. Creatinine itself is not the enemy. It is the messenger. When that number rises on your lab report, your body is saying, "Attention, the filters are having trouble keeping up. Waste is accumulating." And creatinine is not the only thing that builds up. Other toxins follow, which is why people with declining kidney function often feel an exhaustion that no amount of sleep can fix. Notice swelling in their feet and ankles by evening, feel nauseated in the morning, lose their appetite, or see foam in their urine. Your body is working very hard to get your attention. Here is something that puts all of this into perspective. The World Health Organization estimates that roughly 1 in 10 people around the world has some degree of chronic kidney disease. 1 in 10. And in the United States, the numbers are striking. The CDC reports that over 37 million Americans are living with chronic kidney disease, and the majority of them do not know it yet. About 100,000 Americans begin dialysis for the first time every single year. 100,000 people. Many of those cases, not all, but many, could have looked very different if the right information had reached those people earlier. If someone had explained what their lab numbers meant while there was still time to make a difference. And here is what gives me hope every single day in this work. Chronic kidney disease does not go from healthy to crisis overnight. It moves in stages. And in the early stages, the kidneys can lose a significant portion of their function before you feel any different. That is why routine testing matters so much. But more importantly, it means that when creatinine starts to rise, when you are in those early to moderate stages, there is still a real and meaningful window of opportunity, a window to slow things down, to protect what your kidneys can still do, to improve your quality of life in ways that most people never imagine are possible. And within that window, what you eat becomes one of the most powerful tools you have, maybe the most underestimated tool of all. Now, before I tell you what that food is, I need to take a moment to talk about something that frustrates me deeply as a physician. If you have ever typed kidney health or how to lower creatinine into a search engine, you know what comes up, page after page of promises. Herbal teas that claim to flush your kidneys clean in 3 days. Detox supplements with exotic ingredients and complicated names. Capsules that promise to regenerate your kidney filters overnight. I understand why those things are appealing. When you are worried about your health, when you are scared, you want a solution that feels powerful and fast. A miracle in a bottle sounds like an answer. But as someone who has spent 2 decades caring for kidney patients, I have an obligation to be honest with you, even when that honesty is uncomfortable. The vast majority of those products do nothing. And some of them, including some that are completely plant-based and marketed as natural, contain compounds that are genuinely toxic to kidney tissue. We call it nephrotoxicity. Natural does not automatically mean safe. I've sat with patients who came to me worse off than when they started, not because their disease progressed on its own, but because a supplement they bought online accelerated the damage. Think of it this way. If your car engine starts making a strange noise, you do not pour an unknown powder into it and hope for the best. You take it to someone who actually understands what is going on under the hood. Your kidneys are infinitely more valuable than any engine, and they deserve that same level of care. The answer is simpler than any product on a shelf, and it is already waiting for you at the grocery store. Here is something most people do not realize. When it comes to kidney health, not all healthy foods are created equal. In fact, some foods that are genuinely excellent for someone with healthy kidneys can actually be problematic for someone whose kidneys are already struggling. Take a banana, wonderful fruit, full of energy and nutrients. But for someone with compromised kidney function, the potassium load in a banana can be too much for kidneys that can no longer clear it efficiently. When potassium builds up in the blood, it can cause dangerous heart rhythm problems. So when we look for a food that is truly protective for the kidneys, it needs to check some very specific boxes. Low in potassium, low in phosphorus, 0 sodium, rich in antioxidants, packed with vitamins, and it needs to actively fight the chronic inflammation and oxidative stress that drive kidney damage quietly over time. That is a very specific set of requirements, and there's one vegetable that meets every single one of them. The vegetable I recommend to my kidney patients more than any other is red bell pepper. I know, you might have been expecting something more dramatic, a rare root from a remote rainforest, an ancient herb used in traditional medicine for centuries, something with a name you have never heard before. But that is actually the beautiful thing about this. Science, when it is working honestly, tends to point toward the simple, toward the affordable, toward what is already sitting in your produce section every single week, right next to everything else you already buy. Red bell pepper is not a fringe suggestion. Major kidney care networks in the United States, including DaVita, one of the largest renal care organizations in the country, already included in their dietary guidelines for kidney disease patients. This is not a trend. This is not a wellness influencer talking. This is evidence-based nutritional guidance that has been quietly sitting in nephrology recommendations for years. Now let me tell you exactly why. The first reason is its potassium content, or more accurately, its lack of it. Half a cup of raw red bell pepper contains only about 88 milligrams of potassium. To put that in context, half a cup of cooked tomatoes, something most of us use in cooking without a second thought, has more than 200 milligrams. A medium potato can carry over 700. For someone managing kidney disease, that difference is not minor. It is the difference between a light load and a burden your kidneys simply cannot carry. The second reason is vitamin C, and when I say red bell pepper is loaded with it, I want you to understand what that actually means for your kidneys. One serving can provide more than 150% of your daily requirement, more than you would get from an orange or a glass of lemon water. Now, chronic kidney disease is a condition defined by constant inflammation and oxidative stress. Picture tiny sparks inside your kidney cells, free radicals causing slow, steady damage every hour of every day. Vitamin C is one of the most effective tools the body has for neutralizing those sparks and protecting kidney tissue from that ongoing damage. The third reason is the color itself. That deep, vivid red is not decorative. It comes from a group of compounds called carotenoids, particularly capsanthin and beta-carotene, both of which are potent anti-inflammatory agents. A study published in the journal Nutrients in 2019 found a meaningful association between higher carotenoid intake and a slower rate of kidney function decline in people with chronic kidney disease. Eating foods rich in these compounds may help slow the clock on kidney damage. The fourth reason involves two vitamins that most people have never thought about in relation to kidney health. Vitamin A helps maintain the integrity of the tissue that lines the filtration structures inside your kidneys. And vitamin B6 plays a role in preventing certain types of kidney stones and supporting the body's ability to produce healthy red blood cells, which matters because damaged kidneys produce less of the hormone that signals red blood cell production, making anemia a very common complication. The fifth reason is one I find genuinely fascinating: the connection between your gut and your kidneys. Research in recent years has shown that these two systems communicate directly. When the balance of bacteria in your gut shifts in the wrong direction, harmful bacteria release toxins that travel through your bloodstream and land squarely on your kidneys. Red bell pepper contains dietary fiber that feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut, helping restore that balance and giving your kidneys a real break. I want to tell you about a patient I will call Margaret. She was 71 years old, a retired school librarian from Ohio, the kind of woman who kept a notepad in her purse at all times and wrote down everything. She came to me with a creatinine reading of 2.1, type 2 diabetes she had been managing for 8 years, and blood pressure that was controlled but inconsistent. She was not panicking. She was methodical. She looked at me across the desk and said, "Just tell me what I can do. I am ready to do it." Together, we built a complete plan. We adjusted her medications, tightened her blood sugar management, and rebuilt her daily diet around kidney-protective foods, with red bell pepper appearing regularly throughout her week. 14 months later, her creatinine had come down to 1.8 and held steady. She handed me her notepad at that appointment. She had tracked every meal. That is what happens when the right information arrives early enough to still make a difference. Before we keep going, I want to ask you something. Did you already know that red bell pepper was good for your kidneys? Go ahead and type the word pepper in the comments right now. I genuinely want to know how many people are learning this for the first time today. And if this is making sense to you, please hit like and subscribe, because what comes next is honestly the most practical part of everything I am sharing. Knowing that red bell pepper is beneficial is one thing. Knowing exactly how to use it in real life, how much, how often, and in what form is what actually moves the needle. So let me walk you through it. The first and most effective way to eat red bell pepper is raw. Vitamin C is heat sensitive, meaning cooking breaks it down. When you eat the pepper raw, you get the full benefit. Slice it into strips and keep it in a sealed container in the refrigerator. It stays crisp and slightly sweet for several days. Use it as an afternoon snack instead of crackers. Add it to a salad with cucumber, a handful of leafy greens, a drizzle of olive oil, and a squeeze of lemon. Or use a hollowed-out pepper half as a little bowl and fill it with canned tuna in water or shredded rotisserie chicken. Simple and genuinely enjoyable. The second way is lightly cooked, and this has its own advantages. When you apply gentle heat, the plant's cell walls break down slightly, which actually makes the carotenoids, the capsanthin, and beta-carotene easier for your body to absorb. A quick sauté in a pan with a small amount of olive oil, some sliced onion, and zucchini takes less than 10 minutes and makes a wonderful side for grilled fish or chicken. As for quantity, the recommendation I give my patients is half a cup to 1 cup per day, which works out to roughly half of a large pepper. You do not need to eat it at every meal. Fitting it into one meal a day is enough to get the benefits without overdoing any single nutrient. One more technique worth knowing. For other vegetables that are higher in potassium, like potatoes or certain leafy greens, there is a method called double cooking. Peel and dice the vegetable, boil it briefly, drain and discard that water, then cook it again in fresh water. This process can reduce potassium content by up to 70%. Ask your doctor if this is appropriate for your specific situation before trying it. And one firm warning, all of this falls apart if you drown your food in salt. Sodium forces already stressed kidneys to work harder, drives up blood pressure, and causes fluid to accumulate where it should not. Learn to season with garlic, onion, fresh herbs, black pepper, and lemon. Your kitchen has everything it needs to make food taste extraordinary without a single grain of added salt. Now I need to be completely straightforward with you about something, because responsible guidance means telling you what this approach cannot do, not just what it can. Red bell pepper is genuinely helpful for people in the early to moderate stages of chronic kidney disease, stages 1 through 3, and into the beginning of stage 4. If you are in that range, incorporating it into your daily meals is a meaningful and evidence-supported step. However, if you are in late stage 4 or stage 5, or if you are already on dialysis, your nutritional needs are in a completely different category. At that point, your diet is an active and highly specific part of your medical treatment. Every food choice has implications for your electrolytes, your blood chemistry, and how your body is managing the work your kidneys can no longer do on their own. Nothing should change without your nephrologist and a registered renal dietitian reviewing it first. There is also a medication consideration worth mentioning. Many people managing high blood pressure take ACE inhibitors, the medications ending in pril, or angiotensin receptor blockers, the ones ending in sartan. These are excellent medications for kidney protection, but they can cause the body to retain potassium. Even a modest increase in dietary potassium, while safe for most people, can matter in that context. Always loop your doctor in before making meaningful changes to your eating habits. There is another patient I think about often. I will call him Robert. 74 years old, retired electrician from rural Georgia. A quiet man who chose his words carefully but meant every one of them. He came in with a creatinine of 3.1, uncontrolled blood pressure, and a list of medications he admitted he had been taking inconsistently because he did not understand what they were for. He sat across from me with his eyes on the floor and said, "My son looked everything up online. He thinks I am heading toward dialysis." I leaned forward and said, "Robert, you are not at the end of this road. We still have real options." We started with his diet. Cut the processed meats, the canned soups, the salty snacks he had eaten his whole life. Added red bell pepper, along with other targeted changes built around his specific lab results. 6 months later, his creatinine had stabilized. He came back to that appointment with his wife beside him. She shook my hand and said, "He is sleeping through the night again." That, to me, is what medicine is for. Let me give you something concrete to walk away with today. Starting this week, add red bell pepper to at least one meal every day, half a cup to 1 cup per serving. Raw as a snack, lightly sautéed as a side dish, mixed into eggs in the morning, or tossed into a salad at lunch. Rotate the preparation so it stays interesting and does not feel like a chore. At the same time, begin reducing sodium in your diet gradually. Start by eliminating processed meats, packaged snacks, and canned goods with high sodium content. Replace them with fresh fish, skinless poultry prepared with herbs instead of salt, and low potassium vegetables like cabbage, cauliflower, and cucumber. Check your blood pressure regularly. If you have diabetes, monitor your blood sugar every day. These two conditions, uncontrolled hypertension and poorly managed blood glucose, are the leading causes of kidney disease in the United States. Never stop or change a medication without speaking to your doctor first. And please, schedule your routine labs if you have not done so recently. Creatinine, blood urea nitrogen, uric acid, urinary albumin, and estimated glomerular filtration rate. These numbers tell the story of how your kidneys are actually doing. A study published in 2025 following over 100,000 adults for more than a decade found that people with diets rich in flavonoids, the compounds found in colorful vegetables like bell peppers, had a 16% lower risk of developing chronic kidney disease. 16% across that scale represents hundreds of thousands of lives. I want to leave you with something I have carried with me through my entire career. Your kidneys work for you every moment of your life. While you are sleeping, while you are laughing with your grandchildren, while you are sitting on your porch watching the sun go down, your kidneys are filtering, balancing, and quietly protecting you. They never ask for a day off. They have never taken a vacation. And all they need is for you, at least once a day, to make one choice that supports them instead of burdening them. Red bell pepper is one of those choices. Simple, affordable, beautiful, and backed by real science. Health is not something you buy at a pharmacy. It is built one meal at a time, one choice at a time, day after day. If this video gave you something useful today, please share it with someone you care about, a parent, a friend who mentioned their lab results recently, someone who may need this information right now. In the next video, I will show you 5 foods that are quietly damaging your kidneys, and one of them is probably something you eat every day thinking it is perfectly healthy. Make sure you subscribe so you do not miss it. I am Dr. Gregory Allen. Take care of your kidneys. They take care of you.